everyone, my name's Camila. We're creating this YouTube / podcast situation. Vanessa and I started a program called Lawtinas Exec, and it's for first generation Latino law students who want to go to law school, and we provide support, resources. So we've gotten a lot of questions since we started it, and we thought we'd make a video out of it and start making podcasts. To start off, I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Camila, and I'm currently a third year law student, and I live in San Diego, California. We both do. I'm originally from Mexico. I have a whole story along with my educational journey. It was non-traditional. I started posting on TikTok. We started kind of getting a lot. I started posting my journey on TikTok, and from there we got a lot of engagement.
She got a lot of engagement.
And then Latinas was born. She's so involved with the community, but I'll let her introduce herself.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Vanessa Felix Corona. I am originally from Arizona and moved to San Diego for law school. My journey in law school from the beginning was pretty difficult. I didn't have anyone to go to for guidance, which is why Lawtinas Exec is so special to me, to Camila, because we're providing resources to students to have what we didn't have. My law school journey has been great. I really came to San Diego and really focused on networking. I feel like that opened a lot of doors of opportunity for me within the community.
What makes, I feel like, our situation so unique and niche, and I feel like that's why it's doing well, is because we kind of are focusing a little bit less on the academic side, because it's important, but we understand where law students, first generation students, where they come from, and we understand that they don't have the same experience as majority of the law students, which come from like people who have parents as attorneys or have that support.
Stereotypical law student.
We're aware of that, and we kind of have been doing things differently, and we want to show students that you don't have to go the traditional route. Like she said, she focused a lot on networking, and so have I. That is where we're kind of focusing on, and we want to share more about it. And so that's why we're creating this, and we want to feel like big sisters to you guys. That's why we wanted to make it cozy and drink wine as we like talk more. We asked a few people for people to ask us questions, so that's kind of what we're going to go off of. That's why we have our phones.
And for those of you that don't know, I mean, majority of you probably don't know, Camila came up with this idea for this program, right? And then we met in June and brought it to life and started planning in June. We launched our website in October, so that's just like a little bit of background about how new we are to the area, bringing you along as we learn what we're doing. I always say we don't know what we're doing, but we're just kind of going with it, and like thankfully it's been working in our favor. We're really happy about that, and I feel really blessed to be doing.
I guess we need to share what we do right now. You didn't even
I know.
You didn't even mention that she's about to graduate literally on Friday. Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I graduated in December, but my ceremony is on Saturday because we only have one ceremony every May. So yeah, that's coming up right around the corner, and it hasn't fully like settled in yet, because I was telling Camila I've been so busy doing like all kinds of things that I'm not even like aware of what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like boom, boom, boom. So it hasn't settled in yet. It doesn't feel real yet. I'm sure Saturday I'll be crying the whole day. So right now I'm clerking at a trial law firm here in San Diego. It's a pretty big law firm, really focused on engaging with the Latino community. That's really nice. Majority of our employees are Latino, and it's nice to be somewhere where you feel represented. Now I'm doing employment law. I was with this firm previously doing personal injury, and then took a break, came back, and now I'm doing employment with them, and I actually really like it. So we'll hopefully be doing that after the bar, and yeah.
Yay. So me, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I mentioned earlier, I pretty much have been doing things non-traditional. I am about to start my third year in a couple months, but first year I went in thinking I was gonna be a criminal lawyer, and I think a lot of the time, I think it's so like common when first generation students go in, they're like criminal, because that's like all we know. And everyone says you change your mind when you're in law school, and it's so true. But I went in and I thought I was going to do criminal. I had previously worked at the district attorney's office, so I kind of liked it. I didn't know much more. And then when the internships came around, I was applying a few places, and I was able to get a job at an employment law firm, and they focused on class action cases. So a lot of people suing a corporation. I think at that point I was still confused as to what I wanted to do. I didn't feel fulfilled. second year came around and I decided to kind of take a break, and that's when I kind of started posting more on social media. That was confusing because I was like, I love this creative side of me and I love this like fun part, but I feel like the law doesn't, not that it doesn't allow for it, but it's not normal. So like even doing this or anything, it was kind of just, I felt weird. I felt like I couldn't do both.
Oh my god.
Like you forgot that you were holding it. I was reached out by one of my mentors who told me like, hey, I'm starting a law firm and I want you to kind of like help us out. They do business litigation. And I just started doing things for free for them because I was like, I feel like I need to learn things. Like I need to explore more of law, and they were doing like trademark and stuff like that, so that sounded fun.
Experimenting.
Yeah, I was experimenting, but I wasn't excited to find a job. Like I was kind of like, I'm just gonna let things do their own thing and figure it out in a bit. And I think shortly after they reached back out to me saying like, hey, we can actually pay you now. That's what happened, and I started working, and I'm still working with them, so it's been fun because it's very hands-on. I was doing that along with Latinas, and so now that we have
and your social media
and my social media, so now that we have a little bit of a break, we really just want to focus on this, and we have a huge vision for it, and we want to continue sharing. One of the questions is, before attending law school, did you guys network?
Before attending law school, I didn't network. I actually went to school in Arizona for undergrad, and I got my bachelor's in criminal justice. I thought that getting your bachelor's degree was like it. Like I thought that was it for me. Like once I finished undergrad, I was gonna have a career. I was gonna be like, have a nice salary, be set.
When you were an undergrad, you didn't know you didn't want to go?
No, when I was an undergrad, how I even came about law school was I took a criminal justice class. It was like criminal procedure. My professor was an attorney at one point, and I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I can like look into that. And then I finished undergrad, and like I was completely lost. Like I was like, what am I supposed to do with a criminal justice degree besides like,
I had no idea you did criminal justice.
yeah. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I wasn't familiar with the legal field. I didn't need a degree to be a police officer.
And then you didn't have family, right?
Right, yeah, like none of my family has a like professional degree. Finished school and I applied to be a police officer. I went through all that. And
what?
Yeah.
I'm shook right now.
I was, okay, well, because I was working at In-N-Out like since I was 16. And I was like, okay, I'm done with school. Obviously, I'm not going to keep doing this. But I was also like, what am I supposed to do with my degree? Like, what kind of job do I get with that? So, and at the same time, I wanted to move out of my parents' house because when I finished undergrad, I moved back in with my parents, obviously. And I was at a point where I'm done with school. It's time for me to like go
spread my wings.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, in order for me to spread my wings, I need income, like decent income where I can afford an apartment. So I just got to like a point of desperation. I applied for the military. I literally was about to go to, no joke, I was about to go like to do my physical. It was the 4th of July, the day before the 4th of July or the 4th of July. And they were like, oh, you guys have a curfew of 8 p.m. Already I was like, what?
Like, I'm a night owl.
No, and I had plans to like go watch the fireworks with my boyfriend. So I was like, really, I called him. I was like, yeah, you could pick me up. I'm not doing this.
Really?
And I literally left the hotel, didn't sign out, like just disappeared. And to this day, I'm like, what was I thinking?
I had
like,
no idea.
Me freaking signing up for the army at like, 19 years old, 20 years old. I was just very confused. And I was just gonna be like, okay, police officer. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll be a military cop. So that's why I did like the military. And like, I remember I took the, like, I think it's called like the ASVAB or something like that. And I did really well on that. But like, I've always done well in school. So like, I wasn't surprised. But then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Or what am I doing? And everything I tried, I was like, this is not like, it didn't feel right. Yeah. And like, I feel like those are like, not that women don't do these jobs, but typically it's men. And I don't want to be like, I didn't want to put myself in those like situations. Like I hear so many horror stories of women in those fields, but then again, women in law is like very, very small percentage, but it's growing.
Right.
Developing this knowledge that you could be a legal assistant. You don't need a degree for that. But like at the time, that's what I applied for, legal assistant. I was getting paid minimum wage. And then working like 4 years in different law firms, trying to figure out what area of law. I was like, you know what? I can go to law school again. Like I can go back to school and be a lawyer and make really good money because obviously I'm seeing what these lawyers are making. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can do this and I'm helping people. And yeah, I mean, it took 3 years to go back to school from undergrad, but within those 3 years, it was like trial and error. And I kind of like how you're in law school right now and you're like, figuring out what area of law you want to do.
Right.
I did that with like what area, like what career I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I applied for law school and got in, and now I'm here. So no networking, but a lot of trial and error.
Yeah. Notice that happens with a lot of first generation students. There's no guidance, or there's no thought in their head like lawyer, right? Because that's like, to them it's not even,
it's like out of reach,
right? That's why we're creating these things and these videos, so you could see two Latinas. We didn't have what majority of these people have, and we had hardships that many of the people in our community do. So I'm glad that you're sharing that. For me, from a very young age, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but I didn't have a good track record with school. I didn't really tell people that I wanted to be a lawyer. And so when I went into undergrad, I was a transfer student from community college, and I started just involving myself in different places. And one of the organizations that I got involved with was student government. Because of student government, and I know it sounds boring, like student government sounds like those preppy kids. I'm not like that, but I felt like it was a cool opportunity, and I saw the people that were in student government. There were frat boys in there. It was at the end of the day, they're all students with the college life. And because I got involved there were a lot of events that we were able to go to. Because of that, I met lawyers through those events. And I've always been a little bit more like aventada. Anytime I would meet an attorney, why I've always had that personality, like, let me go talk to them. I would get really nervous. I was really nervous, but I would still go up to them because I was like, I just want to know. I just want to talk to them. I want to see who they are. And so one time I went to this event, and that's when I met Randy. So I saw this attorney, one of my friends who is in student government. He's like, hey, that's a partner at a law firm, go talk to him. My legs were shaking. I was like, I'm gonna throw up. But I went up to him and I was like, I'm a college student, I'm in the undergrad. And he's like, hold on, come over here.
So
he saw I was nervous.
Yeah. It was very similar experience with when I met him.
Blabbering. And he was so cool. I think attorneys just know. I met him, and it's funny, it's been like, what, 3 years? And he's still my mentor to he's her mentor.
So crazy, like so invisible strings, everything's just like
invisible strings, and they knew each other like at this around the same time that him and I met each other.
And then we launched our website, and he reached out to you.
He reached out.
I know Vanessa.
He's like, I know Vanessa very well.
That's
she's
so
in my
funny.
like committee or something because she's involved in one of the organizations. I was like, what the that's when I felt like the universe, With that being said, I did start networking early, and because I was working at district attorneys right before I went into law school, I was just kind of asking questions. I felt like it was more like me just trying to get as much information as I could from them before I got into law school, so I can, feel prepared. So I don't think it necessarily gave me a leg up in any sense. It prepared me a little bit. It gave me a little bit of insight. That's always helpful, and sometimes they like connect you to somebody else and stuff like that. So don't feel too bad if you're not connecting right now. Just focus on school. The networking comes a lot in law school.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities in law school to network, and so many like student organizations on campus will have events, and normally they're open to all students, like studying in the library and someone's having an event with attorneys. Or it's good to network with students as well, because sometimes they can provide you with opportunities. Sometimes they're a little bit more like stingy with them, but it's always good to know someone. Any good LSAT prep to begin with?
I just want to say it's very stressful. I just recommend before you go on and purchase like $2,000 worth of an LSAT prep, do your research, and first things first, just realize how you study best, whether it's like learning by yourself or in a group setting. For me, group setting made me anxious and made me feel like I was behind. I was a self-study person, so I did LSAT Trainer by Mike Kim. It's a textbook. It looks intimidating, but it's very easy and digestible to read. It gives you the fundamentals of the LSAT, so you are not going in like blindsided, and you don't feel like you're opening the LSAT and being like, what the hell is any of this? That was a great, helpful book for me. And then after I got the hang of what the LSAT tested, then I went on to LSAT Demon, where I was doing multiple choice questions and practice exams. And that got me prepared for the actual exam day.
I think I would say, if I can go back in time, is I wish I would have tried to self-study first. That may have worked out, and I could have saved a lot of money. Tried to self-study because I think I could have saved myself some money there, or saved my family some money. Self-studying works. Like for law school, self-studying has really worked for me. Like honestly, class was helpful to an extent, but I really didn't learn anything until I went back home and like studied everything on my own. Before going to like spend money on a course or asking someone to provide you with funds towards a course, attempt to self-study. That doesn't work for you, go ahead and invest in something.
And there's also, with the investment part, there's also so many that are so affordable. Like I said, LSAT trainer by Mike Kim, it's like $60 on Amazon. To me, it's like, just be resourceful. On our page, we have LSAT resources.
We're working on a collaboration with an LSAT company, so coming soon we will be releasing those details. I took the LSAT twice and my score increased 20 points, but I will disclaimer, when I took the LSAT the first time, I didn't study at all. So obviously taking a course after that, I think that's why I jumped up so much. That was I want to say $1,500 to $2,000, which is crazy. But that's why I said self-study. Blueprint, when I took it, it was classes on Zoom and it worked for me, but I know that Zoom classes and things like that don't work for everyone. And you also have to be really, really dedicated and determined and consistent with going to classes and doing the homework and doing the practice exams.
That goes on to actually our next question, which is how do you stay motivated / disciplined? I want to start with this because I did not have those characteristics until studying for the LSAT. A lot of the times when I meet with students or I talk to them, a lot of the conversation is surrounding I don't think I can, how do I do this, how do I do that? Even when it comes to them going to undergrad, you have to cancel that mindset completely, because one thing that the LSAT and law school teaches you is that you have to do the things that you hate. There is no ifs and buts, it's more you have no choice, otherwise you're gonna get dropped.
There's gonna be one class that you like. Maybe two.
Yeah.
And even those, when you have homework, you're gonna dread everything. You're gonna hate it. You're not gonna want to do it. But it's I said, either do it or you get dropped.
Right. Never be like that. I used to never be a straight A student. I never was about school. So for me, developing those skills right before law school was really hard to even enter into law school, because I was just figuring it all out. If I could do it, you can do it. It's just very much understanding that you just have to do it, and it's almost like training a muscle. You don't give too much thought into the I don't want to do it because you're wasting time. You're gonna get dropped.
And the more you do it, you'll get in that, you'll build the habit of doing it. I started one out, I literally remember vividly. The first month, every single day, I was doing my readings. I was going to bed at midnight and wake up at 4 in the morning to continue reading, or I would go to bed at 2 and wake up at 5. I would literally be reading, crying my eyes out while I'm reading, be on the phone with my sister crying. Just take a break, just go lay down, close your eyes, and I'd be how am I supposed to do all these readings every single day for different classes? Tuesday, you're reading 100 pages for torts. No joke. I would have to read 100 pages of case law for torts, and then Wednesday for contracts, and then Thursday for torts again. So every night I would be reading, I'd be crying on the phone, and I'd be I cannot go and take a break. I can cry, but I have to continue reading as I'm crying and highlighting my entire book as tears are dripping the pages. It got better, and I mean low-key, as you go through law school, you can kind of stop reading.
First year, it is literally that experience. Not for everyone. I literally have one of my friends who's in law school and she just started her first year. She's kind of breezing through it. Some people just get it, and for me, I didn't. It was the exact same experience. I felt I couldn't take a break. But then as you go on, you realize maybe you don't have to read the 200 pages. Maybe you can shorten it. You realize sometimes you don't have to do the reading. So it just gets better. The first year is just the adjustment period where you're I don't know what's happening. Should I be reading every single word? Should I be taking notes for every single thing?
Should I be skimming certain paragraphs?
Exactly. But then that you again develop that muscle when you understand what you can and can't do.
You're learning what works for you and how you learn, because everybody learns different. I had taken, I don't know this is why, but I had taken 3 year, a 3-year gap. So relearning how to be a student was really difficult in the beginning. Your experience with on-campus interviews and landing summer placements. The school that I went to, we didn't have on-campus interviews. So it was really difficult, if I'm being honest, for students to find out at least for 1Ls, to find out what they would be doing for summer. My school helps a lot with working government jobs or what is it? Public benefit?
Public interest.
Public interest. When it comes to private, I want to say almost non-existent from my experience. Maybe it's gotten better in the years. Yeah, so my 1L year, I started networking. I also went to one of the lower schools in San Diego, so I knew going into this school that I was going to focus on networking, as I said previously, because that was gonna give me opportunities that I know I probably wouldn't get otherwise. I worked at the city attorney my 1L year, and I got that job through networking. I met one of the like supervising attorneys that worked there, and I didn't know she was a supervising attorney until after I met her. And I applied, I had my interview, it was like a panel interview, and she helped me prepare. She introduced me to another mentor, and he helped me prepare for it as well. So that's kind of how I got my 1L job. 2L, I already met this attorney that I was working for. I had met him at an event. So that conversation was just kind of, I went to his firm and I got to know the team, and they just kind of got to know me, and they offered me a job. Same thing, 3L. I had coffee with my boss. I told her at the time that I was interested in working at that firm and that I really wanted to work there. And I had heard really great things about working there, and I knew like that working there as a new attorney, I could get so much trial experience, which is what I wanted. But yeah, I just had coffee with her and I got that job. So like all my jobs I've gotten through networking.
That is so important, especially for first gens. A lot of law schools focus on grades, and if you can't get a summer internship, then you're basically never gonna get a job. I don't know why this law school system sucks, scare you, and it is not an environment that uplifts you. In fact, it's the opposite. But that's why I think it's so important that people share their journeys, and especially with us, like we said, we kind of have been getting our jobs through networking. At the end of the day, when you go to an interview, attorneys want to see your personality. They want to see if they want to hire you as a person. A lot of the interviews, if not all, are personality based. Like they don't go in saying, give me the law of Delaware. Like they literally go in and they're like, tell me about yourself. Like, what are your interests? Why are you interested in this job? So with that being said, if you're looking into going to law school, or you're in law school right now and like freaking out about a job, or you can't find a job right now, you're gonna figure it out. At the end of the day, what matters is you passing the bar exam. Weekend, you could just reach out here and there.
Even just like reach out once.
Yeah.
Have coffee with them once. Tell them you're interested, and reach out again later and like check in.
Right.
Like, like if you reach out in the fall and then summer comes and you're like, hey, so nice to meet you. I just wanted to follow up. I'm looking for summer internships. I was wondering if you had any opportunities.
You'd be surprised how much attorneys are willing to help and how much they're willing to do for you. Just forming a relationship, it's like business stuff.
Right, yeah.
But for my experience, they did have on-campus interviews, and I actually was in one of them. All of it was basically me, who I was as a person, and then they just wanted to see my experience. That leads to our next question, which is, as a first gen, how do you set yourself apart from others? Which, love this question, because I think a lot of the times when I speak to students and we speak to students, one of the things that people think of is that, well, I've never had experience, I'm a first generation student, like I feel like I'm behind. But I think being a first gen and having your life experiences is the powerful thing, because no two lives are identical, especially when you come from hardships, especially when you come from culture and community. I think that in itself sets you apart. A lot of the times it's like people haven't got legal internships, but you know, they had to stay at home, watch for their siblings and stuff. That's a story right there. That's something that you can bring up. You can relate to your community better. You can relate to others, empathize. So I think just being a first gen and using your story and being authentic to you and who you are as a person and your personality and your charisma or whatever type of strength that you feel like you carry, and it will set you apart from all the other people.
I'd add that embrace where you come from, embrace your story, embrace your adversity. Surprise how many people around you inspire just by being yourself. You'll just see, like, everything will flow naturally for you when you are fully yourself and doing the things you love because they mean something to you, and just doing things that are meaningful to yourself. Stay true to yourself. You will see how many people you inspire.
Yeah, love that.
Okay, so somebody wanted us to talk about making friends in law school. Talk about that?
It's talked about how law students are not the friendliest people, or there's been a lot of horror stories about people sabotaging.
You connect with and bond with in different stages of your law school journey. And you might meet someone your first year that's your best friend. You drift apart, or things happen, you grow, they grow, and that's okay. It's okay to be friends with people and then cut ties or not talk anymore, because you're gonna meet so many people along the way, and like there's certain people that come into your life Some come as lessons, some come for phases to teach you things that maybe you didn't know about yourself. Grow apart maybe, and you meet other people in different stages of your law school journey. So like, yeah, be open to that. And like, law students are naturally competitive with each other. Be people in your life. Like for me, that's Camila. Like I know that she's gonna be in my life forever, and it's been a few years. And we're still going strong, and it's been great.
We're creating business together. Yeah, to bounce off of that, it is high stress, and everybody's kind of like, what is happening? So it's normal to the first year to cling on to certain people, even if you wouldn't.
Bonding.
Yeah, even if you would never be friends with them outside of law school. One of the big things that I always tell people is just it's normal to kind of want to be in a group. It's normal to kind of want to like talk about grades because you don't want to feel like you're missing out on anything. You want to be aware. But it's also important to take your mental health into account. And if you feel like certain people are not serving you or certain people are bringing you down, it is totally okay to kind of separate, not engage. And that doesn't mean you have beef with them. It just means that you don't want to share your energy with them. It's normal.
Just don't take it personal.
Right.
And always keep it professional.
A lot of the times that you do meet people who you absolutely relate to. Like for me, that's Vanessa. I've had a couple of friends, just click with them and you vibe with them and you bond with them. They're going to be your friends for a lifetime. Cherish those friendships. Understand how you feel around certain people. Like that's huge, especially as women. We have a strong intuition. How you feel when you discuss
your
jobs.
Accomplishments.
Exactly.
And get involved with organizations that like speak to you. Get involved with community organizations, student organizations. Go do like things around you in your city. Like go join a run club, meet people. It's so much fun. And like, it's okay to have friends that don't go to law school. Important to have that as well, because I think like, especially moving to a new city, like you're surrounded with all these people going through the same thing, and like all you talk about is law school, and sometimes that is so annoying. Or like you're out for drinks and all you're talking about is class and the people at your school and your professors and your readings, and like it's so draining. Like you can never escape it. Like I said, join a run club, go do something fun and like make you feel good and make you feel happy. And
yeah, I think the only reason why I feel sane, everything just kind of has been working out. The opportunities have just opened up because I stopped feeding into that. I stopped feeding into stress. I started pouring into the people that made me feel good, my friends outside of law school. It's such a nice fresh
breath of fresh air.
What?
Breath of fresh.
It's been it's such a nice breath of fresh air to be friends with people outside of law school.
Where to find mentorship. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, and I'm just saying like things that worked for me. I was joining organizations that I felt were filled with people who looked like me, who represented me, like Latin American organizations in San Diego. I just wanted to like I wanted to expand my network, let's say. So like North County is a ways away, but like I make that sacrifice once a month to go to meetings out there, to meet attorneys out there. That's how I met Randy. So just like be creative and join organizations that maybe are not in your community. Like I joined an organization that was formed in Florida, and I went to a conference in New Orleans, and they invited me to this conference, paid for everything.
She stayed at the Ritz-Carlton, by the way.
Yeah, and I only had to pay for my flight, and that was just from like joining this attorney organization as a law student, being the first law student to do it. Like just get creative, and it's an all women's trial attorney thing, so organization. So it spoke to me. I joined it, and it was wonderful to meet new attorneys from different states, different areas of law.
You definitely have to step outside your comfort zone, put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Just go to networking events. Even if you have to do it by yourself, you don't have to do it with friends. Trust me, like you stand out when you're by yourself and you introduce yourself as a law student. Attorneys love that. They're willing to help. You don't have to be there the whole time. But just remembering that lawyers are people too, and they love talking about themselves. They love talking about their careers. So just asking personal questions. You don't really have to be a good conversationalist. Just knowing how to ask the right questions will take you very far. I mentioned too, it's great to network, but also with a lot of networking, you're going to get a lot of opinions and advice, and and just things that people say you should do in order to be successful. I learned very early on because I very much, like I said, I started networking early and I would just take everything to heart. So whatever anyone would say, I'd be like, oh, that's the right way, or that's, and that really made me feel unhappy. I feel like that's why first year I was so confused with what I was doing in my life, because I wanted to go this way, but people were saying this is the way to go, or like this, you have to go in public interest, or you have to do public interest for many years and then you could switch. No. When you go to networking events and you talk to attorneys, whoever you feel like you resonate to, the same way that you resonate with, the same way that you resonate with organizations, you want to resonate with that attorney.
Yes.
And if you like their lifestyle, speak to them, engage with them. If you like what they do, if you find interest, then listen to them. Don't listen to people who you don't really care what they do. You don't really,
like, you're not interested.
Yeah, or you're not interested in the values that they have. So just be aware of that.
The difference between ABA and non-ABA law schools. So this is a good question because Camila goes to an ABA law school and I went to a non-ABA law school. Do your research before applying to law schools and before accepting any admissions decisions, because at least for my law school, a lot of students, including myself, when I got my acceptance letter, I had no idea this law school was not ABA accredited. I was working at a law firm and I was so excited to tell the supervising attorney, that I finally got into law school. And I remember I printed out my acceptance letter. I put it in an envelope and I handed it to the two attorneys and the paralegal, and I wanted them all to open at the same time. And I was so excited, right? And then the attorney called me into his office later that afternoon. He was like, how are you feeling, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I don't want to rain on your parade. I just want to let you know that this school is not ABA accredited. Shout out to him for looking that up and looking up the law school. But, and at the time I literally was I was like, what does that mean? And he broke it down to me. So for those of you that don't know, a non-ABA law school, you can practice law in that state that it's located in if it's accredited by the state. But I can't, graduating from this law school in California, I can practice anywhere in California as long as I pass the California bar. If I wanted to go back to Arizona, I would have to contact or go on their website for the Arizona bar and look up their rules. I know for Arizona, if I want to practice there, I have to be practicing in California for 5 years before I can take the Arizona bar and practice in Arizona. Or I can practice in another state, but I would have to practice under another attorney's license, which you don't really want to ask someone to do that. I've never heard of anybody doing that. I was okay with going to this school because I knew I would stay in San Diego. I only applied to schools where I knew I would not mind practicing in, and realistically I wanted to go to a school where I wanted to practice because that's where I was going to network. But Camila can touch on going to an ABA school.
Yeah, so I think early on I started researching about law schools, and I kind of very much became familiar with the system just because I had a year of studying for the LSAT, and so I was just searching up everything and anything. And it is very much that for non-ABA schools, it's pretty much in every state, you have to practice in that state that you pass the bar for 5 years in order to be able to apply for a different state.
Unless you want to go into federal law, immigration.
Right, unless you want to do that, exactly.
Yeah.
Then that
you still have to take the bar in that state, but you can practice federal law anywhere else.
Exactly, because but for ABA accredited, I think it's a little bit different in the sense of how she was explaining. There's not a lot of, for you guys, there wasn't a lot of job opportunities, and for some areas, I know San Diego was a little bit more lenient. They were more willing to help with the school that you went to. But I know in other areas, certain law firms don't accept ABA or non-ABA accredited for internships and stuff like that.
And scholarships.
There's limited opportunities, I would say, if you don't go to an ABA accredited school. If you have the opportunity to go to an ABA accredited school, take it. Study a little longer for the LSAT. Financially, it's they offer more scholarships and stuff like that. So,
and also make sure that you apply early, because One thing I didn't know before coming into law school is that law school admissions are on a rolling basis. So if applications open in February, they're sending out acceptance letters, they're giving away scholarships, they're giving away money.
Yeah.
It's like first come, first serve. Just make sure that you're applying early, that you're preparing your letters and your applications early on, so that way as soon as applications open, you can apply ASAP.
Yes. And we'll be making way more videos on this. We'll continue creating like
Right.
this, and on our Instagram, our webpage, we're always going to be sending out information and stuff like that. So this isn't the last video that we're going to like go into depth. We just kind of want to answer general questions, and we're going to post everything down below. But other than that, stay tuned for our next one.
If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks for watching.
We will see you next time. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.